here. It's raining outside. And we are in a world within a world. Okay? At least I am. It's called social media. It's called the platform of YouTube. Good morning, Fancy Nancy. Good morning, 1979 ACR. A world inside of a world, y'all. KJ's been experiencing this for what? 3 to 4 years? Something to that effect. Some of y'all been around the whole time. Some of y'all showed up late in the game. Good morning, Sam Willow. Thank you for the advice there, Sam Willow. I just don't feel up to talking about what I let out of the box yesterday. Or was it the day before yesterday, huh? Grammy B, good morning. Elba Lopez, Great Dane Mom, all of y'all. So I'm in here. I'm in the house, and it's Friday. And I am going to be a little more disciplined, although I will get back to this social media world inside of a world thing and what all KJ has been able to experiment and do all kinds of different things just to see what a person is capable of doing inside of the world of the world. It's kind of like a box, isn't it? In some ways it is. To me, I mean, you might think differently. It's like being in a box, kind of like. Not so much that it's like, I don't know, it's almost, it's hard to explain, but I'm here today with some discipline because yesterday I did something I probably shouldn't have done, and that was I popped in to the boy in the box trial of Timothy Ferriter and his wife. And you talking about something that will suck the life right out of a person? For me, anyway, I can't be numb to what I look at on social media. I have to look at it. Does it do me more harm than good to watch this trial of this poor young man? He's 16 years old now. Let me just get to it, and then you'll see where we're going. West Palm Beach, Florida. The jury in the boy in the box case in Florida spent hours Thursday watching video of the 14-year-old victim taken with a camera installed on the ceiling of the structure in the garage, the box. It was a look at what life was like for the boy while he was forced by his adoptive parents to live in an 8 by 8 foot area without windows. Investigators got nearly 21,000 video clips into evidence. In one, the jury saw the boy's behavior came into question and how his adoptive father, Timothy Ferriter, who's on trial for false imprisonment and child neglect, responded. The father says, "You want to take this to the next level? Let's go." And when he said that, and we heard it, y'all, we couldn't see it because he's a minor, but you could hear that young man crying, just basically like just torturous, devastating. You could hear his breath. You could hear him whimpering and crying. This young man's got PTSD, y'all, and he's got some other disorder, or so they say. Jurors saw the box that had a lock, a light switch, and an air conditioning unit controlled from the outside. Also a mattress, a desk, a few posters, and a bucket that the boy had to use for his bathroom. He was left alone often, sometimes in the dark, and often away from the family, even during meals. He was let out for school and household chores. A child psychiatrist, Dr. Wade Myers, testified, quote, "It's a sadistic punishment while he was in that room," unquote. The prosecution witness called the Ferreters' actions toward their adoptive son malicious, saying there's no set of circumstances concerning a child's behavior that would justify this torturous behavior. In fact, the expert in the field said the boy's hours in isolation without any stimulation exacerbated the behavioral issues. Previous court filings said the boy suffered from reactive attachment disorder, a condition that could develop if a child's basic needs of comfort, affection, and nurturing are not met as an infant. So there's a boy who was put in a box, a child. He did testify. You can find it on YouTube. He said that his parents just made a bad mistake. And it just breaks my heart to think about this young man in this box. And the lights are out. And he's not given anything for developmental stimulation. Regular trauma from news reports seem to be daily or have guilt for turning your face away from the plight of our fellow man, says Donna Donald. Daisy Sushine says no words for such horrific torture. And all this time, y'all, we've been talking about the Chad and Lori Daybell case and what those children must have been through. I've discussed other cases where it basically comes down to the children, families, the way it is in this world. For that young man to live in that box and not feel like anybody loved him. NF Mom says the judge should make these parents live in the box and treat them the way they treated him. I don't, something to hear any crap about their rights. I don't want to hear anything about their rights. Okay, there you go, NF Mom. Donna Donald says, I never believed in the death penalty, but this stuff makes me reconsider. So this man and his wife, she's going to be tried at a different time. It's my opinion that they're going to lay the hammer down on this asshole. And his wife is getting a front row seat to what she's going to be experiencing because she's in those videos. A mother. And nobody needs to tell me that because this child is adopted, that he should be treated any different. This was her and her husband's child, whether he's from Vietnam or not. Whether he's got a disorder. Whether he could not be what they wanted him to be. They can kiss my ass. Will he have lifelong damage? How many other children who grow into adults, y'all, I'm a firm believer that there's a child in all of us. There's a child in all of us, y'all, and not all of us ever had the perfect childhood. Some things happened. I've got PTSD myself. In the 70s, I worked with a child who lived in a chicken coop for over a year. She suffered a list of physical and mental issues, says Samuelo. Why would this even enter a person even think of this? I treat my dogs better than some treat their own kids, says Fancy Nancy. I keep thinking about this world within a world, y'all, which is social media. And I'm thinking, okay, this young man, he was 14 at the time. He was 16 when he testified the other day. But he was 14, and he'd already been in this box over in Arizona, which I'm finding out the parents were Catholic, if that means anything to anyone, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious whenever you say the word Arizona, Utah, Idaho. But the light switch was on the outside of the box, right? And it was controlled by the parents on whether they were going to give him some light in his room or whether they're going to make him sit in a damn box in the dark. Well, what about social media? Social media, I mean, the light doesn't come on, metaphorically speaking, unless somebody turns that light on or shoots that crazy ass video or does whatever a person does on YouTube. And it's a choice for that young man who only had a mattress and a desk. He was given books at one time, but then he only had one book, and they took that away from him. He only had what he had in that box. He only had choices inside that box to occupy his time, to naturally, y'all, a child, even up into adulthood, y'all, we have to have stimulation in this world. If we didn't have any stimuli at all, we might as well be in a coffin somewhere in a freaking cemetery. So his choices were his choices inside that box. They dictated, his parents dictated what was going to be in that box. And whatever was in there, it was his choice. And then, this whole idea of him, he went to school. He took a few things home, like a calculator or something, just to occupy himself. No, he shouldn't have stolen anything, but for goodness sake, he's a prisoner. He only has what he has in there. And to even wonder what must have been going on in his mind over and over and over again as he sat in the dark day after day, knowing that his other family members were in the kitchen all sitting around the table acting like the freaking Brady Bunch. Jay says their prison cell will be those parent box. Will be a parent box, karma. Well, Donna, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back to watching that. I was curious. I dip into stuff all the time. I'm one of these ones that like to see the judicial process through and through, And once I started watching it, it just, it broke me. It really hurt me bad. So the parents did. They wanted to control that child. And don't get me wrong, y'all. Parents need to discipline their children in the right and healthy ways. And they also need to they got to be control freaks sometimes when it comes to their kids. Because if, you got to guide them, nurture them. And through that nurturing and guiding process, there has to be some healthy control there. Or you just let your kid just do whatever the hell they want to do when they want to do it, and then wonder why you're having to deal with the fact that something bad has happened to them. Jill Schneider says, I don't think I could delve into that case. It makes me sick. Well, all of these cases absolutely tears my heart out, y'all. It hurts me. But back to this control, the fact that the parents wanted to control that young man is severe, malicious child abuse. I hope this guy finds out real quick when someone bends his ass over in prison. He was offered 2 years and 5 years worth of probation, and he turned it down. I hope they lay the hammer down on him. So I got to looking. Excuse me a minute, y'all. I got to looking through the Jody Hillebrandt Connections class. Y'all know how I apply things. Y'all know that there's got to be something more, y'all. It can't just be, let's talk about this crazy, evil shit. It's got to be about something that old KJ can live with, that I can find something good out of all this. I have to. What everyone else is here for is your own business. I respect and honor you for whatever reason you're here. But episode 95 of Jody Hillebrandt's Connections class, it's entitled Surrender the Control. And it's several pages long. It's 13 pages long. I picked out some things in it. It's ironic. But Jody Hillebrandt says, as a child, children, because they're born without distortion, have no problems surrendering. Surrendering what? Control, right? It is such a natural movement for them because they're not yet full of fear and mistrust and hurt and defense. Yet as children grow and mature, they have experiences that are very hurtful. They're traumatizing. They feel fear. They feel disappointment, and the disappointment creates sadness in them. They have experiences that create anger, and they have expectations that are not met. And some of them feel abandoned. They have people who don't validate them or allow them to have an expression for their emotions. And this is Jody Hillebrandt talking about children. And this damn woman wants to take control of little Russell by tying him down on the floor. Some children are not held accountable for their inappropriate choices. And that's, they believe they can do whatever they want. They become entitled. Some children experience isolation or abuse or neglect. Well, wonder if Jody Hillebrandt knows anything about abuse and neglect. Because that's exactly what her and Ruby Franke did to those children. These types of experiences are full of distortion for the child. These offenses affect and damage the emotional system and the soul of that little kid. The outcome is disconnect. The person feels disconnected from their environment, themselves and others. And that young man in Florida who was put in that box, he had to disassociate, disconnect, whatever he could do to hold on another day inside that 8x8 box. And here Jody Hillebrandt is telling everyone that children, they're born innocent. And as they grow, they get into this distortion shit. Well, she's the distortion. Ruby Franke is the distortion. Good morning, Norma Guerrera. I should take the towel off, but then y'all'd laugh at my wet head. I was looking at Nancy Johnson, who killed her 2 kids and herself in Alabama. She left things saying it was the husband. She had been to Utah for some kind of help. I think that this is related to Jody, says Donna Donald. And Norma Guerrera. Yes, when I posted that picture on the community wall of that father and son and the mother there, that father in that picture is the one that kidnapped the 9-year-old. And I challenged everyone to look into the eyes of that young man. It's never ending, no matter where I look. This world inside of a world. Oh yeah, I know. I can go and make the choices to watch the cute little kitty cat videos, or maybe something that's, nonfiction, some documentary about something a little more wholesome. I can't help but wonder what it must have been like, y'all, for Jesus Christ to take on the sins of this world, because nobody else could have done it. Because if we look at what people are doing every single day, just knowing that, it upsets me and hurts me. And what? I'm supposed to, well, it upsets me, it hurts me, so I should not look at it anymore. Well, OKJ's going to find something positive in everything. I'm not going to allow the negative evil of this world to hold me back from the true love that I know God gives us all. I'm not going to give in or give up. Y'all, I'm looking at you right now. These last few days, I'm going through some depressing things. My son's birthday's the middle of this month. I'm thinking of my mother. I'm in the middle of my midlife crisis, whatever that is. And I'm telling you, I've been like, I'm just gonna throw away the phone. I'm not gonna have anything to do with television, social media, radio, anything. I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm not. I'm just gonna fall off the freaking face of the world inside of the world. In other words, I was like, I'm just gonna give it up. I'm just gonna give it up. But I made a promise, and I want to keep that promise. There are a lot of people that stuck by me through thick and thin. Y'all have seen the good, the bad, the ugly. You've seen it all. You've seen me act like a damn idiot. But you've been there. KJ, make us a Florida Lolo dance video. Or a Flo Rida Lolo dance video. I challenge you, I will make one if you will. Okay there. Explain to me how you want it, Donna Donald. Explain to me what kind of, what is your envisioning? Better yet, why don't you do it first? And then maybe I'll copy you. Right? Good morning, Cindy Bullock. So, Jody Hillebrand and Ruby Franke, I haven't heard anything lately, but my theory is they're going to let them out on bail. I hope they don't, but that's my theory. Hello, Sugar Butt Starburst. Sam Willis says, now you've done it, Donna. Donna Donald says, okay, I will do some version of Carol Burnett doing a Lolo dance. I don't even know what a Lolo dance is, Donna Donald. Y'all have educated me on all kinds of things. Are y'all going to educate me on what a Lolo dance is? Because the only Lolo I know is that damn hussy. Donna's going to have to do it. Donna's done stepped up to the plate. Fancy Nancy. Donna's going to do it. And then when Donna does it, OKJ will do it. So this world inside of a world, y'all, we're in here. It's a box. We're in here. But we have some control, unlike that young man who was put in that freaking box by his parents. You got Jody Hillebrand letting everyone know in her episode 95, Surrender the Control, what can happen to children. I guess she needs to come out with a new one saying, I just got out of jail. I'm awaiting trial. And this is my next Connections class, y'all. I myself know what it's like to abuse children and neglect them. I want y'all to know that I knew all of this information as a licensed professional, and yet I did it anyway, because all I wanted was to control. Seems to me, don't y'all think, that Jody Hillebrand's living in distortion? I mean, you look at her definition of what that is, and yet she says she has the answer. She has the answer, so you don't have to live in distortion anymore. She has it all right, but she just don't, she sure as hell doesn't demonstrate it herself. She says in episode 95, she says surrender is a word that means to capitulate, to give awareness and power to something or someone else. She wanted those children to surrender, to give up their control, and she absolutely caused child abuse and neglect in doing that. She wanted them to surrender. You know, were they brainwashed? Or if they were brainwashed, then why have to tie them down to the floor? They weren't brainwashed, obviously. Little Russell. Control means that I have the ability to manage my thoughts, says Jody Hillebrand. What kind of thoughts does a human being have when they want to hurt a child? Deprive that child of food. Tie them up with duct tape and ropes, creating wounds. Oh, I bet she didn't think it through at all. But she had her thoughts about how tight she was going to make the ropes. She wasn't thinking, I should not do this, because I know if I look at episode 95, I myself, Jody Hillebrand, am saying that children can be abused and neglected. So anything other than these three positions from Jody Hillebrand, these three positions, my thoughts, my feelings, my choices, anything other than that, I cannot control. Let me say it one more time. Jody Hillebrand says, these three positions, my thoughts, my feelings, my choices, anything other than that, I cannot control. Well, that's a crock of shit, because she could have not been thinking at all, obviously, to do what she did to that child. Her feelings. What was she feeling as she was tying little Russell up? What are her feelings? And her choices, obviously. Her choices are on display. It's in a freaking damn charging document. Those were her choices. Anything other than that, Jody Hillebrand can't control. I disagree. Because you don't have to think. You don't have to have feelings. You can be numb and an evil, diabolical piece of shit. And your choices? Her choices were endless. Endless. Options. Call the father, call Kevin Frankie up and say, we can't handle these kids no more, come get them. Beach Lady says, I'm a true crime junkie, but I have to spend equal time watching comedians and a lot of music to balance it all out. Well, awareness is half the battle, Beach Lady. So since OKJ's been in this world within a world, which is, i.e. social media, am I living in a box? Huh? I guess I've got to decide that for myself. Well, congratulations, everyone. You're fixing to see OKJ get out of the box, so to speak. The box of who I am, what I'm about. The only way I can do it, and will do it, is I wrote a letter to myself. I wrote a letter to myself, not here recently, but back when I was in therapy to deal with the depression of losing my son. I'm going through all this about my mother, And my therapist said, write yourself a letter and be brutally honest. And I'm going to share that with y'all today. OKJ's going to get out of the box. I'm not going to stuff. I challenge anyone. When you feel up to it, sit down and write yourself a letter. Just whatever comes out, comes out. Well, here I am, y'all. Dear me, I'm writing you this letter today because I needed to talk to you about what has been disappointing and frustrating about you. I know that you have had a hard road, and I know that you are mostly to blame for it. The reason I say this is because it has all come down to your choices throughout your past life. I understand that there were times when others hurt you, but for the most part, it can mostly be traced back to the decisions you have made. Although you didn't know what the consequences were going to be, I'm disappointed that you didn't stop to really think through some of the choices you were making. And perhaps your choices might have been different, or you might have not made those choices in the first place. You just did not stop to think about where God wanted you to go, and the past has a way of creating lifelong damage that has to be attended to and healed. It frustrates me that the residual damage is still there and that you cannot seem to let yourself off the hook or at least come to some resolution about it. So much has been lived, and some of it was good, and some of it was bad, and it's disappointing that the guilt still dictates how you view yourself. What has happened is over, and yet you still seem to have a hard time stripping away the old negative self-image and becoming honest and realistic about yourself. With all this said, I am pleased that you are aware of all this. There was a time, not so long ago, where you just threw up your hands and didn't have a clue, where you have been wrong, what you were living, and so I guess it comes down to what you're going to do about all this awareness now. I know you want to let go of the things you have no control over. And I know you just want to be a better Christian, a better mother, and a better wife. How many times in your past that you just didn't give a flip? That you just lived into your own self-destructive thinking and actions? Today, I'm pleased that you have made a real shift in a positive way, because you have changed and because you want to continue to heal and grow, and most importantly, let go of unhealthy bad habits and guilt and regret. I am pleased with the fact that in your past, you never wanted to give up. Your willingness is so important, and I see that you are willing. So it's all about working on all of this, and I'm very pleased that you're seeking help. All of this goes back to how you're viewing yourself in your life, and it has a great effect on your relationships. So it seems you're going to have to work on yourself, because whatever mistakes you have made, or even the ones you make today or tomorrow, will continue to have an effect. You cannot change others, but you can change negativity in yourself and accept yourself for who you were, who you are, and who you will become. You have to make a conscious decision to continue to move forward in your life in right and healthy ways. Jesus is the one and the true healer of yourself. And having that as the foundation, you will have good days and some bad days. Whatever happens, and whatever pain you have on the journey of your life, put God first, the best that you can. And don't beat yourself up when you fail to do this, because being aware of your failures to God, being able to tell God of your failures, is a blessing in and of itself. if true change can come from it, if true change can come into my life, sincerely, with love, me, okay? I really needed to do that. I needed to get that out. I appreciate y'all being understanding of that. Maybe you don't understand, but you're just being there. I appreciate it. No one was there to help that little boy in that 8x8 box. It finally, the shit hit the fan, and that father and mother are both going down for it. We cannot begin to understand what's going on with Kevin and Ruby Frank's children, what Russell and the other smaller children there are having to go through right now, being away from their mother and father. And y'all, that boy in the box, he got on the stand and said that his parents just made a mistake. The love of a child, the things that are done in this world just kills me. It absolutely kills me. This world within a world that I have been in, and I've gotten to meet all of y'all, and we've gone through so much content. You never know what we're going to talk about through all this time. I just want to thank you for helping me come out of my box. The things that I mean, obviously, y'all, we all need privacy in our lives. Some people are more willing than others to let their hair down. Some people are more willing to make an ass of themselves, as I often do. Or make a few people scratch their head and wonder, does this woman need to be in a padded room? But I just want to thank you. You don't realize how much of a precious, precious gift it has been to have each of y'all in my life, this world inside of a world, this open channel. And to show all of you how much I love you, and I do, with all my heart, I want to read to y'all very quickly something that I wrote for my mother. The title of it is called My Mother. What were you like before the children came along? Did you cry as a teen at a heartbreaking song? Did you go through the years staying strong in the face of fear? God had to let you know the reason you were here. You had your own feelings. You had your own world where people didn't quite see sometimes that sweet and funny girl. Yet you always rose above it all when Jesus entered your heart. And from that very moment of salvation, your life began to start. A friend, a neighbor, a cousin, a sis. You handled it so beautifully with the love of a mother's kiss. You gave all you had to bring comfort to others. You lived all your dreams, being a loving mother. So now, Mom, you're in heaven, and God says to you, I love you. I love you. I love you for always speaking the truth. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Glory to God. My mother always knew what to do. My mother lived in truth. So, if if I'm going to be in a world inside of a world through social media and YouTube, I'm going to be as transparent as I can be, flaws and all. I've got my problems, y'all. I've got my issues. But I'm a real human being with real feelings and love in my heart. And I'm not going to give up on what's right. No matter how many times things hit me from all sides telling me to just give up. I'm not going to give up. Because it's not about me. It's about God. It's not about me. It's about others. If I can focus on God and I can focus on helping others, then it really isn't about me, is it? Ann Gibson says, I think social media can broaden your mind as long as you don't disconnect with people. Well, I'll tell you what, Ann Gibson, I don't ever think there's ever been a time that I can recall that I have given out that disconnected view or feeling to other people. I've always sought to connect with the motive of love, of understanding. We see quite clearly what humans are capable of doing to the innocence of children. We all see what we ourselves have been through in our own lives. Are those things going to attack this desire within me to want to help others and be there for others? I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to do it sometimes, but I'm trying. I'm making the effort. I piss people off. People misunderstand me and all of that. People see me for whatever they see me, and they have a right to. They have a right to believe, feel, think, do whatever they're going to do. It's just incredible to me, y'all, that from the beginning of time, mankind has sought ways to control others. And I refuse to give in to that. Okay, Jay, do y'all think I could ever be a control freak? I've been it. I've lived it. I've tried to control people seeing me so that I don't get rejected or hurt. Well, let the chips fall where they may. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, if I truly say that I love God and that God's in control, then it doesn't matter about me controlling things at all. It's about being transparent and open, knowing there are going to be people that aren't going to like me or are going to reject me or whatever. We see what happens when people try to control other people. That father and mother wanted to control that son of theirs by putting him in a box in the dark, making him shit and piss in a damn bucket. Only let him out every so often to let him sit at the table to remind him of what he's not getting to do most of the other time, being with his family. These are outward, extreme things that we are seeing in this world, inside of a world, y'all. Whether it's trial coverage, whatever criminal case it is. These things could easily, for someone like me who's super sensitive, who does suffer from depression, PTSD, it would be so easy for me to say, you know what, this is not healthy. This is not good for me. But y'all, I know in my heart that what I am doing on this open channel What I am doing is absolutely letting God control the situation. I cannot put a false narrative out there. I can't control whatever I'm doing. It's going to happen. And there's going to be a lesson in it for someone, and it might just be me. Do I have to know what that lesson is? Do I have to know if there is something that's going to help someone else? No, I don't have to know. It's called faith, y'all. It's called faith. So I guess I'll get off my soapbox now. I want you all to know that I love you. I want you to know that I think of all of y'all each and every day. You're in my thoughts. You're in my prayers, y'all. Every one of you. And for all of those who are so inclined to pray and do believe in prayer, there is no doubt that your prayers have helped me tremendously. I hope you all have a great weekend. Just know that, OKJ, I do get tested on all kinds of things all the time. I get cynical. I get angry. I get obviously depressed. You know, folks, maybe you're watching a midlife crisis unfold. I couldn't think of more wonderful people to spend my time with in this world, inside of a world. So y'all have a great weekend. I love you all. We'll get back together soon. Keep on looking.